Hey guys, okay, so today's tutorial is we're actually going to be creating a rubber stamp, and we're starting off right now with just the drawing portion of it because I want to show you how to draw a feather, because we're working on our boho beach and we're going to do a really cool little feather that we're going to make a stamp out of. And I thought for those of you that want to have a little bit of a drawing tutorial, then this is perfect for you. And if you find it a little too challenging and you're having a hard time keeping up, I'm going to have the option of having this stamp that I create the actual drawing as a download for you. And I'll put the link there over on my website. So if you guys just want to go over and grab the download, then you're more than welcome to do that to make things easier for you. If you just want to enjoy the benefits, and then you can go ahead and do the tutorial on how to do the stamp. But we're going to try to keep it pretty simple today, and we are just going to start with, we're going to do a feather with a little bit of a curve. So we're going to start in the top right hand corner, and we're just kind of doing the stem. So it's almost like you're drawing a line from one corner to the next. And you know what? I think I have to use a darker pencil for you guys so you can see. Let's see. Okay, let me just sharpen my 3B here so you guys can see, because this one is not going to show up. There you go. I hope this works out better. Okay. So just a little bit of a curve, and we're going to go back in after and kind of thicken this up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little swoop in, like it looks like the tip of a leaf. And on this side, we're going to follow along the line almost down to where this last line met. And we're just gonna swoop down again. So let me just show you how it ends up looking. Okay. And then we're just gonna go about 1/4 of an inch below this line. We're gonna do our next little segment of the feather and join. And we do the same thing on the other side. And everybody's is going to end up being a little bit different, which is really okay. And we're just going to follow that line again. Okay, same thing on this side. And keep going down all the way along the bottom here, until you reach to about this point. Okay, and then at this point we want the portion of the feather to just be a little smaller. So we'll add a smaller little segment, and then from here we're just going to do little lines like this. I'm going to do a few more, except this one we're going to curl. Now, I made a little curl, but what we're going to do is we're going to double up that line, because this curl part is the part that we want stamped. Like, we're not actually going to cut that. So once I go through it again, you will completely understand, but literally you can take your pencil and just start doubling up the line like this. You can make it really dark. Do you see that? Because that's the part of the stamp we're going to keep. Anything you see white in between is going to be cut out. So we don't want to go too thin here. You want to make sure you have space that you're going to cut around. Okay, and this little one going up too, you can now color that in. Okay, and then on this side, let's just do a little piece curling around, not a swirl, but it's almost like a little hook. See that? And then down here, we'll do a little swirl. And just double it up and color it in nice and black. And then we're going to do one little piece just kind of hanging out like this. So that's the bottom portion of it. Okay, so then at this point, if you want to put some designs, and I think what I'm going to do is add a little curl up at the top here, just to kind of stick with that theme. I love my curls. If you see my mandalas, I put a lot of swirls and curls in them. Okay. Now, if you want to, okay, so just remember, trying to see how I can, so anything white here, I should get a different colored pen to show you. Well, I don't want to do that now because I want to make sure I scan this for you guys so you have a copy. But when we do the cutting out of it, I'll guide you more. This is just the stencil portion of it if you want to try doing your own drawing. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and darken up the lines a bit, just so that you guys can see. That's just the basic feather shape, and my stamp is going to be this big, but if you end up downloading this stencil, you can adjust the size to whatever you want. Just keep in mind, if you do shrink it and make it smaller, it is going to be more difficult to carve out. But if you want to make it smaller and just use it as a addition to your journal like that, you're just more than welcome to, and you can paint on top of it. And do anything like that you choose as well. So you do have other options for using this drawing. If you do not choose to make a stamp, feel free to download it. You can use some watercolors to get some color in there, because I will just have a black and white version of it. So that's our feather. And then at this point, what you can do is do some really cute little designs in it. So this is going to be a block. So I can go ahead. I think what I'll do is almost like a little mandala design here. Because I can go in with my speedball cutter and just kind of do these little decorations after. I'll just leave it like that. And then I'll just do some stripes on this one going up. And this is where you can really make it your own. So you can do just a plain feather, or you can add these kind of designs. think I'll just add a little bit there like that. And then you just go in and you decorate your lovely little feather however you want. I think I'll do a little paisley design. And see how I'm just building up the design within the feather. I think I'll do another little kind of flower here. This is going to look really cool when it's all cut out and you're using it as stamps. Okay, and then that's it. So there's my feather. I showed you how to draw it and decorate it. And I'm going to have this down on the website at www.yvettesaintamant.com as a download. Like I mentioned, you can download it as a template to do your stamp. Or if you want, you can just simply print them off, put some watercolor or color within it, and add that to your boho beach journal that we're all going to be working on together. Can't wait to see your stamps. You guys, here we are. We're going to be starting our stamp. The only thing you need is this Speedy Card block and your speedball cutters. So, or linoleum cutters, whatever you're used to calling them. And here is the original drawing that I did, that I just finished showing you how to do. And then what I did is I just went over it in ink and I scanned it for you guys. This is the copy from my printer. So I just want to show you how you can just use, you know, my file that I downloaded to make your own stamp if you don't want to go through the drawing process. And I just like to cut it down here, the size. Now, if you guys don't have any speedball carving blocks or any of these linoleum cutters or speedball cutters, you can go on my website, YvetteSt.Amant.com. I'll put a little link up there. And you can go to my art supplies, and I've got a link for a really great deal on a starter kit that includes your tools and a speedball block. And I'm not selling them direct. I just put a link. I just try to research the best prices, and I found a really good price on Amazon. It'll be enough to get you guys started. And then you can go, I find it's always better online to order your speedball blocks because you can get just a better deal. Okay, so I'm always trying to savor every last bit of my speedball block here because I like to use it all. So what I'm going to suggest you do, because this is a photocopy, it's not going to transfer, so you need to go over it in pencil. Of course, I put my pencils away, and it's better to use a softer pencil. Let's see, what do I have here? Got a 2B. I'll use a 3B. And basically, you just want to trace the image, and my suggestion, you're just going to go over with your pencil, because this is how you transfer the image onto the speedball. Now, I've got a couple options here. You can go through and copy all the designs that I made on this stencil, or if you're confident with your design skills, you can just pretty much outline your feather just to get the feather shape, and then you can go in and do all the designs on your own after. And I'm going to do that on this one only because I want mine unique. And this one is the one that I designed for you guys. So if you want to use what I put up on the website and you want to use this design, by all means, go ahead. But I'm just going to do mine a little bit different on the inside because I do like the things that I do to be authentic. So even though I'm using the same shape, it'll have a different design inside, and nobody else will. Oops, it's okay if you go over a bit. It just makes for a more interesting composition. So, and the same for you, you know, if you want to have your own unique little stamp that nobody else has, just go ahead and use the outline I provided, and then you can go in and do your own designs, and it'll be like one of a kind. So after you finish tracing it, you're going to put it face down on your Speedy Ball carve block, and you're just going to take the back of your carver and just rub it, and this will transfer the image so that you've got all the guidelines for cutting it out. See how it's transferring? Just want to make sure the basic shape is all there. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out, like I'm not going to cut the shape out. You'll see in a second. I'm just literally cutting the block. And this stuff is so soft. You can just use scissors. Just so I have, you know, a smaller surface to carve with. All right. so easy to, whoops, cut. And I have done a number of these tutorials on my YouTube if you want to check out, again, how to create these rubber stamps. And I just use different techniques. So right here, I've got, there's like a variety of different ends that you can put in. And I've got the number 3 end right now. It's just a V shape, nothing too deep. And we're just going to start by following the design. Now, you're always going to want to carve away, and it is pretty soft. So just what I like to do is just turn the surface of the speedball block. It just seems easier to carve for me that way. So instead of trying to get in there with your finger like this, I just literally put my tool in and I just rotate. So you're just going to go and outline everything. Now I'm just going to do a little spot in here so you can see what is being cut out and what is not being cut out. And then you'll understand why we doubled up on the lines. And like I mentioned, this is so soft. You really don't need a lot of pressure when doing this. Okay. So this was my drawing. I'm just going to darken it up so you can see. Okay, anything that's black, we do not want to cut out. So you want this swirl here. So let me just do this around here again so you can see everything. Whoops, just a minute. And I know this isn't the simplest pattern for you guys, but the part that's black here, I did not cut out. So I'm leaving that swirl here. You want to just go around the whole outside of the feather, leaving these little portions. So on this one, again, I want this black thing to remain, and I'm going to go around. So go around your whole feather. I'm going to do this one, and I will show you again what it looks like here. Especially on these little pieces. These are the ones that you want to be careful with. When you get to these bigger pieces, it's so much easier, trust me. So I'll do a couple here so you can see, and then I'll mark it again with my pencil. So now that we're getting to the bigger pieces, see how it's easier? You're just following the shape. Okay, so there's a curl at the top here, so we want to be very careful. It's so much easier if you just, like I mentioned, use the feather. Oops. Use the feather, I just realized what I said. Use the speed block just to rotate as you cut it. Okay, so where's my pencil? So basically anywhere that I'm putting the pencil, this is where the ink's gonna sit. Okay. So this is all ink here. This is all ink here. I'm just doing a rough little, and we'll get rid of all that excess stuff around the edges too. So see how I'm just going around? I'm going to outline everything. So I haven't cut into anything that's dark here. All this stuff we're going to remove, but we want to leave the feather shape. So you're going to go ahead and do the other side as well. Same thing. Oop. Gotta make sure you guys can see. And get into another little curl down here. These are the tricky parts that you have to really pay attention to. Okay. Okay. So we've gone around the whole thing. There's my little curl. All these pieces, like I mentioned, these are all going to be part of the ink where I'm drawing over. So now we're just going to clean up the stamp, and then we can get to the design work if you choose to. If you want to just use it like this, you're more than welcome. Okay, so I have a very fine carver here. It's number 1. And I like to go in just to get like down in these corners where the segments of the feather are coming up, just to really, you know, get the fine little details and clean up a bit. So I'm going to do that. And as you have these tools in hand, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. I know it's very difficult when you're just watching a video like this, but when you've got these little tiny details, that's what we do just to clean it up. Oops. Okay. Okay, and now what we're going to do is just go in and we're going to get rid of all that negative space in between and around. So I'm going to get rid of all this so that the only thing left is going to be the feather. So you got to get rid of all the pink. And don't go too deep. Like I mentioned, this stuff is so soft to carve, so if you go too deep, you're going to get right into like whatever surface you have under here. So just be careful. Take your time. Okay. Get a little bit of this. And I'm going to change the tip. Okay. So this one is a rounded scoop. It's a number 5. If you see the end, it's a little more rounded, and it's so much easier for getting rid of, you know, all this excess. And always try to move away from your design so that if it does slip, you're not going in and cutting off, you know, a portion of your design. Because if I'm going this way, I can slip and cut into my feather. So just always, you know, move away from your design. When I have a big chunk like this, I just like to cut it off. Okay, we're getting towards the swirl, so just be careful. You don't want to cut that swirl off, so really move away from it. Okay, and again, I'm just gonna trim this top part off. And you can go ahead now and kind of trim around your stamp. I like to just get that extra speedball stuff off of it, because I don't want any kind of remnants of this stamp getting on my surface. See that? I'm just going to clean it up a little bit more. Wait to try this stamp out, you guys. Okay. Okay, so there's the stamp. It's all carved out. If I were to stamp it right now, all this would be, actually, let me show you. It's probably best just to show you. And then you guys can decide what you want to do. All right. Got a pad of paper here. So if you just cut out the stamp like this without the design, I'll show you what it looks like. And then we can go forward and do the design if you choose to. All right. So there's our stamp. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that's without all the detail. So now you can see why we had to go, you know, around. It's also a good opportunity to see where you need to clean up if you want to. But I am going to go in and I am going to put the design in because I do want a more intricate feather design here. Okay, and this is going to be great because you'll be able to see how I go in. Now here, we're simply not digging anything out. We're really just going to like carve some really pretty patterns. Let me just clean this up a bit. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and you can just, now what I'm going to do is I want a black outline to remain, so I'm going to make sure I just do a tiny little, and now when you're doing the details, you don't have to go deep. Just use your number 1 and draw whatever design that you want. So I will still do like a little mandala over here. this was the feather without all the designs. And then I'm going to show you, now that we're done, all the detail, what it looks like. Let me get some ink on here. Hang on. There was still a little bit of rubber in there. Okay, ready? The amazing reveal. Ta-da! Look how pretty that is. It just elevates it to a whole new level right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed creating a feather rubber stamp with me. If you need extra tutorials on it, or the reason why I always do the videos is you can always kind of stop, pause, zoom in, take your time. If you find this a little too difficult, you know, try a simpler design. Just start off with doing, you know, hearts or whatever. And I hope to see you guys creating this feather stamp and using it in your art journals, in your journal in my journal with me videos. So can't wait to see you next time, guys. Bye.